This is Scott Becker with the Becker Private Equity Podcast. Today's discussion is Disney and Microsoft and 10 more stories that we're following today. First, the markets are relatively flat today, but that's okay because they've had a dramatic uptick over the last week or two. It's been the best couple weeks in the market in almost 2 to 3 years. Second, the Walt Disney Company reported better than expected earnings. It's turning out that Bob Iger, who may have an ego as big as his talent, is turning out that it looks like he might be the right leader at the helm of Disney again. They're up again pre-market today. He's cut $5.5 billion in costs. He says he's going to cut $2 billion more. I mean, he's really remaking the company, and we'll see if that continues to thrive. Third, Warner Brothers Discovery having the opposite results of Disney. They reported worse than expected earnings. They're down 20% yesterday. Fourth, Microsoft is quickly creeping up on Apple as the most valuable company in the United States. They are up 52% year to date. As Apple softens just a little bit, Microsoft continues to be on a tear. What an amazing success story. Fifth, Bitcoin has soared recently. We talked about this in a separate podcast where I sold my Bitcoin ETF and lost a lot of money. Others have been doing great with it. It's up to almost 37,000, its highest point in a long time. And we talk about knowing your investments, why you're investing something, have a strong conviction to why you're investing something. That's really the take-home point. It's not so much that it's a good investment or a bad investment. It's knowing why you're investing in something and having a strong conviction around it. Again, Bitcoin hitting it out of the park. Speaking of Bitcoin, Anthony Scaramucci, the founder of Skybridge, what an incredible story of resilience he is. Sixth, oil has come back down to $75 a barrel after having jumped to $90 a barrel. Amazing to see that move back in the right direction. At some point, and it's a different story, the U.S. better fix their stockpile of reserves of oil. What a horrible way to fight inflation by trying to use our strategic oil reserves. Seventh, thrilled for the Becker's Healthcare CEO CFO Roundtable next week. We've got an amazing record turnout. We'll look at that. A chance to visit with President Bush and George Bush, as well as Carly Lloyd and Alex Rodriguez, and a ton of magnificent healthcare leaders from places like Lintas, Northwell, Intuitive, UCLA Health, and a ton of other places. A special thank you to Virginia Egizio, Crystal Kazaka. Thank you so much. Eighth, we're thrilled to release a podcast yesterday on private equity in the aesthetic space with Jordan Nelson and Glenn Morley of VMG Health / BSM Consulting. They talk about med spa, derm, plastics, and what's really rock and rolling in the aesthetic space. Ninth, we recorded yesterday a podcast on the value of a great leader. This was inspired by the Chicago Cubs paying a record-setting amount to the new manager from the Milwaukee Brewers, 5 years, $40 million. And again, when you pay a great leader and that leader performs, it's the best investment you could ever make. We talk often about leaders like Jessica Cole, Becker's Healthcare, Mohan Daradas of Lintas, Gary Guthart of Intuitive, Judith Faulkner, Epic, Johnny Spiso, and there's so many more at UCLA Health, Chris Van Gorder, David Feinberg, so many more. The great leaders are worth the weight in gold. Where you really screw up is when you're paying somebody like a great leader and they're not a great leader. That's where it's really a disaster. It's not so much the great leaders that get paid well, so be it. I think that's a great investment. It's those that get paid well but aren't great leaders where it's a disaster. 10th story, McGuire Woods. I've been blessed in my 30 years at McGuire Woods to be blessed with magnificent leaders, and I'll just give a quick shout out to Bill Strickland and Bob Burris, Tom Cabanis, Tracy Walker, Richard Cohen, Jonathan Harmon. What an amazing set of leaders I've had the chance to work with at McGuire Woods that have led the firm as either chairman or managing partner. That's my quick shout for the day. 11th, also amazed by the depth and breadth of leadership from Mike Dowling at Northwell Health, Manav Sivak at Memora Health, and excited about the AI efforts in healthcare of Venkat Mokurla and Mujal Shah. Finally, our last story of the day, Canada stocks continue to underperform, continues to be a disaster in the cannabis industry. We'll see if that gets any better. Thank you for listening to the Becker Private Equity Podcast, and thank you to the magnificent Grace Lynn Keller for producing with us today, one of the best in the business. Thank you very much.